Sorry, I'm doing something real quickly. Give me a minute. Might need to take out different. Oh wow. Settings. How are you doing? Kinda bad. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm doing good. What about you? So on stream? Oh, I think you're in stream right now. Oof. Sorry, it was a little loud. Stomish. How are you doing? I'm doing good. What about you? Sad? Stomish. Like, okay-ish. I don't know. I just bought this game. This is the sequel of one of my favorite games of all time. Gambit. So the favorite games of all time, and that's a sequel. Yes. Yeah. Oh, intro is really fast.
The last 3 years of war have shown no mercy to either side. The bitter fighting continues across Europe over land, sea, and air, leaving behind mountains of casualties and many more broken souls. The United States till now had remained neutral, but the mounting economic pressure and the return of Germany to unrestricted submarine warfare finally awakes the sleeping giant. On April 6, 1917, the United States declares war on Germany. Within months of the declaration, the U.S. Army launched the first universal draft. And despite enduring segregation in their own country, over 360,000 African Americans enlist, eager to show their patriotism, in hopes of returning home as heroes. James is one of these men.
It's just, I don't know. It's not the best streaming game, I think. The front, to the front.
Dear Brother James, I hope this letter finds you well and that working at the docks is not too backbreaking. It's good to receive news from you and from home. Keeps my mind off of the war. We wallow in the trenches.
Still there?
Mud among the rats and the dead bodies. Afraid that if we stand tall, we might catch a bullet. But if you take anything from my letter, I want it to be this. Do whatever you can to stay away from this madness. You followed me everywhere when we were kids.
Okay.
Please, don't follow me here, James. There is nothing here but misery and death. Be safe and stay home. Freddy.
Oh. Entry of the United States into First World War. United States entrance World War I in April 1917, more than 2.5 years after the wars began. In Europe, President Woodrow Wilson tried to remain out of the war for as long as possible, but the public opinion remaining largely against US intervention until the beginning of 1914. Unrestricted submarine warfare as well as Zimmermann's telegram pushed the American government to join the war. Act and Draft. Funds Act engaged on May 8th, 1914 started the beginning of the draft in the US. Soldiers, men in Europe, for the first time a draft targeted all men between the age of 21 and 30, including African American men. They were required to begin from register from possible sections and serve, but 2 million men volunteered were drafted. 2 million of them were sent to fight for the United Kingdom. Volunteer service returned the beginning of the country. Okay. Segregation. Although 1895 saw the end of slavery in the United States, African Americans were still subject to discrimination, segregation, and enforced through the series of laws voted at the state or local level, known as Black Codes. Although they were allowed to marry and sometimes purchase property, interracial marriage was largely illegal, and other laws infringing the rights of African Americans to the act of witness, vote, or be in arms. During the era of white supremacy, violence, secession, and beatings were protected against African Americans, particularly in the South. Military training camps were completely segregated, ensuring that the white and black soldiers would train and live in separate facilities. Down. Early day of the New York National Guard was introduced from New York State, mainly in African American soldiers, but including countries Peru, Cuba. They were led mostly by white command soldiers per soldier. Down. Now, is this boring or entertaining? Like, it's interesting. To me, this is incredibly interesting, but to a lot of people, they're very niche
No.
Down. I think you should get some medication. Oh damn! I think you should get some Is this the game or? So like 3 times. Oh. Now I think I think something bad. Yeah. Probably food poisoning. Object draft card. Filled by U.S. Army agent during the Great War. The armies did not recruit African Americans at the draft card. Corn of America. Fuck. Oh. You should really, if it really hurts, you should go to your parents because like that isn't good. I forgot. Said Snake as was don't treat me. I forgot. I missed something. Oh yeah, I'm just going here. Probably like, what the hell is he doing? My stomach is darkened. Talking or something. Excuse me? Is talking with... I think he said like... Oh wow. Have you eaten? Like... Oh wow. New York National Guard main basic training was rifles, then English. Sick. Dienstplicht.
It's good to hear from you. Sorry to disappoint, but it looks like I'm following you around again. I've already enlisted with the 15th New York National Guard Regiment, or the old 15th, as they call us. We're done with our training and on our way to the front. We'll sail from New York to France. We're on our way to help you win the war. But don't you worry about me. I can take care of myself just fine. Your little
America was never really touched in the First and Second World War. I hope they do in the Third.
April 9th, 1917. Vimy Ridge.
Vimy
This
Ridge.
geographic stronghold, held by the Germans since the early days of the war, remained impenetrable.
The
In the
talking isn't
latest
as good.
attempt to break through the German defenses,
Good zelfs.
ground forces were ordered to team up with the British Royal Flying Corps.
Vimy.
Before launching the attack, the soldiers were given a moment to write to their loved ones.
Aim.
Interrupted by George's unconventional landing, Freddie soon learned that his unit was going to take part in the operation and be paired up with the peculiar British pilot, now grounded and without a plane to fly.
Ready?
Damn. All airplanes, haven't done that yet. Aviation and aircraft. As war began, aviation wasn't yet a true army corps, for it would become one during the war. Technical progress achieved by each side led to the air supremacy according to which aircraft. In US, the German monoplane Fokker I-3, with a system that allows it to shoot through the propeller, was the first developing decisive aircraft supremacy in 1915. But the arrival of the FE-2B and DB with the rear propeller rapidly out of the playing field, allowing Allied pilots to shoot from the front as well. Famous air units. Some aircraft were used by all sides as a propaganda tool. They helped to convey a more valorous image of the war than the poor soldier. I think it might that much since my stomach isn't showing. Yeah, that's okay. For the Americans, Chicago, the French, stuck knee deep in the mud. Each for the poor soldiers had their Star Squadron 20 Squadron of the British Lafayette, the American Sigourney, the French Javas, and the Yachtstaffel for the German. Yacht? Oh, Yachtstaffel. Oh. I don't think my country had one. I do know modern Dutch airplanes are called straaljagers. Right? Or like exhaust hunters. I think exhaust hunters? Or beam hunters? Because they go, straal is what, a fighter jet produces when it, goes, the smoke behind it. Straaljager is those hunting those, smoke hunt, yeah. Jachtstaffel. Modern day knights of the aerial battlefield. The A's were fighting missions with a minimum of 5 kills on focus road lead crash holding terms. Ace, apparently same time. The first dogfight with pilots started to fight against each other. Propaganda lied on these heroes to boast about the country's aerial superiority for a few thus living long enough to enjoy this date. Status of 8. Damn. I think that in the first game there were a little more of these. But the pixels are always so magical. Look at these. Actual people. I think in the first game they also last time showed colorized them. Oh yeah, this I remember this. These darts were designed to drop by aircraft into enemy trenches, measured about 4 inches long and weighed just under 2 ounces. I don't know what the fletching could pierce through helmets and skulls. Did you know that these were developed by the French, but they were mostly manufactured by the Germans, and even was French designed, German made on the label, as a way to show that, yeah, from the Germans. Pretty cool. Okay, settings, English, Slavisch, taal, Nederland, instellingen. Oh mijn god. Toen de oorlog uitbrak, speelde luchtvaart geen rol. Betekenis is het leger, maar dat veranderde gaandeweg. De technische vooruitgang aan aanbieden kansen zorgt ervoor dat het overwicht in de lucht vooral luchtverraadafheid van elke vliegtuig in werden ingezet. De Fokker I-3 was de een Duitse uitzinner met een systeem dat ervoor zorgt dat de piloot door de propeller kon schieten. Dat gaf de Duitsers in 1915 voor het eerst luchtverweegt. Maar de komst van de FID met achtergeplaatste propellers zorgde dat er evenwicht, daardoor de geallieerde piloten nu voorwaarts konden schieten. Damn. Vlechtschets. Deze projectielen werden ontwerpt om te worden gedropt in de vijandige loopgraven. Ze werden ongeveer 3 centimeter lang en werden iets meer dan 50 gram. De konden hielden een soldaat doorboren. Konden in de helm van een soldaat doorboren en schieten. You know what is actually really interesting? That in my country, trenches are called loopgraven or walking graves. Like in my country, they're literally called walking graves. Right, I'm gonna back to English, but they're literally called walking graves. So. Wow, pretty cool, interesting. Oh, puzzle. Oh, Poppy. Oint. In 1921, the red poppy became the symbol to remembrance for the casualties of the Great War. The symbol came from the first line of a poem in Flanders Fields by John McHale. Damn. In the Great War, all planes were open cockpits for protection from the freezing temperatures. Pilots wore thick leather jackets and silk scarves. Yeah, the Germans had the best aircrafts in the start of the war. I think it's the same in the Second World War. Started as the best, later that's overall with German technology in the both world wars. They started as some of the best in the world, but at the end of the war they were lacking behind. Right, like German armor in the Second World War began really well, but in later parts of the war became very outdated and very outdated. Just what I just said. Very outdated and outcompeted by different ways of thinking, different weapons. RAF, right? The RFC. Pilots of the Royal Flying Corps pinned with these badges were the camps of many romance pilots as knights of the sky, soaring about the yeah. I don't know. At this point, this game isn't as good as the first one, but still fun. I like the historical facts. Need to probably play this stuff in Dutch, but the problem is people are watching me. And I want people to understand me and enjoy that. Right, so before the Battle of Ridge in 18, Canadian soldiers had to prepare for the battlefield where they used saws to remove trees and foliage from build roads, trenches, and railroads, or transfer supplies to the front. Should probably play the first game. First game is kinda. Oh, good work. Less realistic. Okay. Okay, this is already a thing. This is just nah, man. Comedy? Oh. Yeah, the problem is that the original game was incredibly seriously. That was a big part of the game, was the pretty serious. That's the last one of the reasons I enjoyed the first game so much. It was serious. How serious it was a big part of why the game was so gritty. This game is less serious at this point, and I don't know. This just serious. Fine, could have happened. I don't know. This section is gonna be fun. What? Oh, different direction. Okay, let's fly. Oh yeah, like the car scenes. First game had a car scene like this. The Americans are coming. I wish I made it like, I don't think you can actually have a thing of the German perspective of the war. That would be pretty cool. Oh. Oh, Germans. There's a German aircraft. There's a German aircraft. This doesn't work as good with planes. Then if oh hello there. Oh, chemical bombs. Okay. German air balloon. Zormen de Tsar. I don't know. Gevlucht.
Despite his haphazard flying, George managed to pinpoint the enemy's location.
Spy plane.
He relayed the information to Freddy, who then launched the strike on the enemy cannons.
Freddy's unit.
But despite the triumph of reclaiming Vimy Ridge after 3 long years, their victory was marred by the dead bodies
Just don't show it.
across the hillside.
Don't show it. I know I'm complaining a lot.
While
The
Europe
first
was torn apart by war, the U.S. had begun a massive mobilization in what many believed could permanently change the tide of the war.
the first game was just so good, but the expectations of this game are very high.
Aboard the USS Pocahontas was a racially segregated unit. The old 15th, made up almost entirely of African American soldiers. These men were sailing to Europe, ready to put their lives on the line, to prove their love for a country that didn't always love them back.
Dear Freddy, we're on our way to France. This is our first night at sea. But don't worry, me and the boys are ready. Speaking of the fellas, I lucked out and I'm getting on good with a fine bunch of them. There's Fidgety Lang Edwards, who never puts down his drumsticks. Jack Harris, our medic from Chicago. Joey Brass is from Harlem and plays a mean
Harlem?
banjo. And Chef Caldwell is always cooking up stuff for us.
Harlem?
We just have to make sure to get served before B.B. Johnson. Great guy, but he can really put it away. Well, I gotta go now. Practice is about to start, and there's no jazz band without a clarinet. Stay safe. We'll see each other soon. Your brother, James.
I hate these kinds of games, mini games. Okay, I'm probably gonna fail this sometimes. Wait, what? Shit.
As the Pocahontas continued to cross the Atlantic, their encounter with the German U-boat 155 brought
Uh-oh.
them ever closer to the fight. Entering the battlegrounds of the war, their ship was spotted by Ernst.
Ernst. Is this supposed to be like Faye? Before. It's just a law and water.
May 31st, 1916. On land, the conflict was bogged down in trench warfare. Neither the Allies nor the Central Powers were able to make significant gains. At sea, Allied forces dominated Germany with a crippling blockade. Determined to stay away from the war, Ernst escaped to the solitude offered by the depths of the sea. It was here below the surface that he scavenged, hoping to eke out a living.
Ahead of the seas early to attack Germany. The Dreadnoughts naval war in 1940 fleets large high sea ships known as dreadnoughts. The success is black island. The fail of the currents, the mixed results of the Germans invested in the war technology with the US, especially a fleet of U-boats. By the early 30s, US armed machine ship used. Damn. Yeah. Sides of the opposing clear witnessed this battle. The young Navy avoided similar large-scale direct conflicts until the end of the war. The biggest shows sailing in a convoy and a strategy adopted to be less prone to submarine attacks. Damn. Ernst, I like. 1960. Whoa. That's it. It looks like an English ship. Can make him a fortune. Where are the dead bodies? Excuse me. Where are the dead bodies? I don't know. This game does look more child friendly than the first game. What was it? Navy propaganda poster. I guess it's any object just to the war effort. This game looks way more child friendly than the first. The first is way less, like, way more brutal. But it was also the later parts of the game, and like only half of the game. So I don't know. Shouldn't judge too quickly. You know. The first game, like in the first game, at least from what I remember, right? A dead ship would have dead bodies. There were way more brutal scenes in the first game, at least from what I remember. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Could also just be me, it's just I remember way more brutal scenes. But that also came later in the game, so I don't know. I don't know. This is a sequel, so I would like them to go deeper into what I liked, but it looks like they went more into the, I don't know. The maps are smaller. That's another thing, and they're way less objective and way less like look in a poster. In the first battle, the undersea boats or the U-boats U-6 sank 3 warships within an hour, with only 28 submarines in service in the German Navy. Desperately needed to build more. Propaganda was employed to convince the public to fund the war effort. Buta! Howlers! Damn. Polka propaganda. diving helmet. This helmet is part of one of the first diving suits that didn't require a surface air pump. The German firm Dreicher was one of the first to sell autonomous driving equipment, thanks to the compressed gas canisters, a predecessor of the diving Kleiner. The driver could remain autonomous without tubes running to the surface. And the things are way less hidden, what is kind of a good thing. Less responsive. I don't know, not responsive, but like in the first game you would like the door would slowly open if you do it. Oh, I actually went to a place. Oh, look. Sextang. Sailors in WW1 had to navigate using maps, stars, and visual landmarks. They used the sex like this one to measure between points and calculate the locations on the map. Now we just have radar. You know, back in the good old days, we didn't have like navigation on our phones. We needed to do a sex setting. That's enough money for a while. You need to save him? No. I swear. If it's a boat where this dude came from, no. A warship. Looks to be America? No, it's not in the war yet. German and British. No. The Kikkervos man? Loading. Truers. Oh. Naval mines. Bad naval mines. The British turned to local fishermen for aid. These brave civilians used fishing nets to drag mines away from Royal Navy warships. Yes, fishing net. I yeah, ook. Nippertjes.
As his boat settled on the seabed, Ernst began to come to terms with the war's inevitable, all-consuming power. Defeated and alone, he could feel the Jutland waters' cold embrace tightening around him. Stranded for hours in the aftermath of the Battle of Jutland, Ernst was starting to feel his grip slip away. But when the merchant sailors aboard the submarine, the Germania, came to his aid, they not only saved Ernst's life, they also took him in as one of their own. In them, Ernst found kindred spirits and instantly felt right at home.
I wish they would talk about the African front of the war.
But even at home, you have to carry your weight.
U-boat. While the British Navy bet on the dreadnoughts, the German Imperial Navy opened for U-boat technology. Although the U-boat proved very effective at first, with the U-boat U-9 sinking 3 British warships in a single hour, the Navy warfare adapted to the new technology with fast ships and changes in the navigation. In 1917, increased naval battles resulted in more than 300 ships sunk in a year alone. Transport by sea. By the end of the 9th century, major nations had at their disposal naval transports to move troops to or from overseas territories rapidly. When the US declared war on Germany, they didn't hesitate to seize German ships harbored in the US. These ships were then commandeered by the US Navy. More than 2 million American soldiers crossed the Atlantic by sea to reach France, some of them on German ships. Some of the ships used for troop transport were turned into hospital ships in the course of the war. Camouflage. During World War I, technology progress enabled better deterrent aiming, and firing capabilities for onboard artillery. Camouflage, the art of deception, was also necessary at sea to deceive the enemy. The ships were painted with zebra lines, so the enemy submarine scouting was no not as effective and would prevent submarines from hitting the targets due to inaccurate distance estimates. Poop face. Urns. Hey. Objectives. Wrench. Used by the Navy mechanics on submarines diesel engines. These engines were named after the inventor Rudolf Diesel, who patented the first diesel engine in 1890. Why is there a skull? Like a first German thing, and immediately is a skull. The backgrounds are also way less, realistic. Like, what happened? This doesn't look like a war submarine. Wait, is this an American ship? Like, damn. A critical component of a submarine per periscope. It allows a sailor to observe the surface while underwater. I think this one overall cares more about presentation than actual interesting history. What for most people who play it is like a good thing. For me personally.
1916. The U.S. had remained neutral, allowing for business as usual. Despite trade blockades, the few merchant submersibles in existence, like the Germania, were still able to trade with them.
Oh, that's why. That explains it. It's a trade vessel. It's a trade vessel. Wow, I'm stupid. Of course it's a trade vessel. That makes more sense.
James, who was working the Baltimore docks at the time, was surprised to see the submarine pull into port.
Hey. Huh? No! Weakness!
You okay?
little dramatic. Facts, no facts, okay. The new technology allows telegraphs to message to the sending wireless U-boats and airplanes were equipped with wireless telegraphs to communicate a great distance. Ah, cool. Klamautersma statue. Many German sailors believed in the Klaudeautersman, a spirit that protects ships. Here is a representation as a man with a hammer and a tobacco pipe. Instead, he warns ship crews of danger and what only leaves a ship if it goes down. Okay. Knot collection. Since submarines spent most of their time on the surface, they were constantly no different from a regular ship. As such, sailors on submarines were expected to know how to tie a knot. De kok. I'm not supposed to put it back? Okay, the ship might blow up now, but, you know. Zorn. Klagesnetter. I think the old German flag looks pretty cool. What do you think? Looks very Dutch. Like it looks like an emo version of the Dutch flag. Like at least to me, the old German flag looks like an emo version of the Dutch flag. Like an emo goth-esque version of the Dutch flag. Emo goth-esque version. Do you have an opinion on that? Oh wait, I need to check if I got any more comments recently. What? You were thinking? Oh, Jesus, the amount of achievements. Tijd voor een deuntje. Muziek. Muziek.
Dear friend, I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I hope you won't be upset with me, what with the war and all, but I recently met a German, and we really had a lot in common. It turns out Ernst is a damn good musician. I'm proud to say he's become a friend. We promised each other that when this war is over, me and Ernst will play together again. I intend to keep that promise. Your brother.
Traitor. Okay. Are you enjoying this stream? I know I'm asking a lot of questions. Just
The Germania's voyage was a commercial success, and her crew returned eager for their next trade. But their triumphant return was interrupted by the German Imperial Navy. As the sole German national aboard, Ernst was conscripted to fight. The submarine, too.
No facts, nothing. Like the game is just like put in a different way.
By decree of the Kaiser, the Germania was henceforth ordered to hunt convoys in the Atlantic. Ernst was faced with a grim choice: torpedo the Pocahontas and kill his friend, or disobey a superior's direct order and risk being put to death. He had chosen to save his friend, but knew it would only be a matter of time before he was ordered to kill again.
This has way more small levels naar het front. Instead of the original game had a couple big levels. But this has a lot of smaller levels, Broken Souls.
1917, St. Manihold Hospital.
Oh yes.
Doctors and nurses alike tried in earnest to patch up swarms of broken bodies and wounded psyches. Anna, the Belgian nurse, battled every day against the war to save soldiers.
Field hospitals. The war was the first war of such significant casualties managing required a completely new organization of it. From the battlefield, frontier stretchers, wounds were carried to the train. Yeah, I know. In the other wars, there were people who would put up shops, nursing places. X-ray were first discovered by the German scientist Roentgen in 1895, and their use by medical staff began to spread at the turn of the century. Technology proved very useful for medical staff treating soldiers who were victims of shrapnel. Early as the technology adapted to cars in order to create mobile X-ray units. Imitated by the science marine curious, the goal was to better treat casualties and he prayed wounded soldiers. Stretcher bearers. At the first link in the chain of care, stretcher bearers, often folks in different colonies, were had to walk with Asian stretches between cell holes and barbed wire. They would reach the wounded and take them near aid posts in the rear. Often under enemy fire, they also used trains to carry their wounded men who had no medical qualifications came from the variety of backgrounds and could be musicians, priests, or non-combatant personnel. Alcohol, 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 alcohol. Medical alcohol, I think.
Sometimes Anna could heal the soldiers' ailments and put them on the path to recovery. Other times, it was a matter of alleviating their pain and merely postponing the inevitable. On this day, a rare ray of hope pierced the gloom of the hospital grounds. Finally, with the arrival of new medical equipment, technological progress would be used to help the wounded of war, instead of producing them. Surprised to see her dear friend again, Anna handled each of the wounded soldiers with care. She couldn't wait to speak with Freddy and catch up on old times. In 1914, a severe epidemic reigned in the unsanitary conditions of the trench warfare. Fortunately for the soldiers, a phone vaccine was developed that saved many lives. Phone epidemic reigned in the unsanitary. Oh wow. Fluorescein. This screen allows a radiologist to view X-ray images. In some cases, screen more mounted to the helmets of medics, allowing them to use their hands at the same time, and estimate 1 million X-ray exams were performed during World War I. That was just a glitch. That what just happened was a glitch, I think. Like, look. Yeah, I just had the game glitch on me. Not the time. Cutting-edge research in blood transfusions produced a formula of solutions, Jar-Tecs and extras, that prevented blood clotting. This extended the shelf life of blood donations and allowed
situations on the front lines in 1917. American medicine began using the blood banks, traded blood banks. You. Stretchers. Well, a foldable French army stretcher from the First World War. The message feeds 300 stretchers in Paris to evacuate wounded soldiers. By medics on both sides on the conflict. The white color symbolizes neutrality, a reminding that medics were not to be shot.
reunited. Anna and Freddie both took solace in the bonds of friendship. Hearing the bombs fall, Anna knew they had struck the heart of a populated civilian area. Anna! Always quick to act, she drove off to help the wounded.
Start of the conflict, civilian motorcycles, limited horsepower, were requested by the army. Not adapted to war conditions, they were rapidly replaced with more powerful models, especially produced by various served as machine gun motorcycles, ambulances, and more. They were also essential for fast liaison between units. Northern Reserve. Serial Vetar mod on the American forces in Europe and Indian. With men away at war, women filled positions in a factories, weapons factories, so chains and mixed of TNT and coordinates. Weapon factory worked on mixing it by hand to fill the shells and bullets. Contact with the mixture would stain the skin yellow, resulting to nicknames for the women working in these factories. Canaries. The work paid half of what men earned, and they worked grueling hours in terrible conditions. Women's employment rates increased drastically during the war, as millions of men were taken from their jobs to fight. Companies had no choice but to rely on female employment. Women who ran the farms mostly alone, also called to work in weapon factories, canals, or served as metro and train drivers. Sometimes they were also called closer to the front to become nurses because women were paid less. There was a fear among men that employers would continue to employ them even after the war, and meanwhile, even ever before the end of the war, women started to fight to obtain equal pay, went on strikes. A special committee dedicated to equal pay for equal work was set up in the UK, but conclusive due to lesser strength and so health problems, women output would not equal men, despite evidence that women had performed equally. Unions received gradually that women who fully replaced skilled men would be paid the same during the war. Then to perform refused. She guarantees a woman pay. Soldiers often receive packages from their families back home, but the volume of packages increased drastically during the holidays. National governments and charities sent troops packages of food for Christmas, and some German soldiers even received minimum miniature Christmas trees. Christmas on the front lines. Due to the risk of explosions, objects made of metal were banned in manufacturing factories. In place of a hairpin, women used wooden combs like these to put their hair up. I need to find something to throw. Brick literally just, wow. The brick literally just, get at this, that's actually just like, wow. This clips through. Letters from the front. Made of 10 billion letters and postcards were mailed during the war. They were often brief, but allowed soldiers and their families to stay in touch and share news. Soldiers didn't pay for postage. Their letters went through strict censorship process led by the Census Department. Proceeds protect sensitive information through the general monitoring led by the Postal Control to observe soldiers' morale. What's this? Oh, work overalls. The war forced many changes to society. Notably in industry, women were hired in factories across the world, producing weapons and ammunition, flying in the face of gender conventions. Many women wore overalls to work.
Seeing a Zeppelin creep toward the bombed factory, Freddy feared the worst for Anna. He hopped on his motorbike and raced to join him. Freddy arrived just in time to see Anna emerging from the debris. She had once again put her life on the line to save others. December 27th, 1917. The Pocahontas arrived in Brest, France, to a celebratory welcome. Unknown to the Old 15th, the decision had already been made to use them only for combat service support. They were not to see battle. Desperate for soldiers to fight, the French pushed hard for the newly arrived 15th to join them on the battlefield. They were eventually successful. The old 15th would fight under the French banner and be renamed the 369th Infantry Regiment.
Nice.
The Americans were once again outfitted as soldiers should be, then paired up with a French counterpart. They would now all fight together.
Brittany was a military harbor able to relate in because of the main. Okay, railway, food on the front. So they required to bring food to the front where the British sent over £1,000,000 of meat to the Western Front on a monthly basis. They live between fresh and frozen and tinned food, but they are also estimated mobile units to prepare to bring hot food as close as possible to the front line. Imagine shows and soldiers. This image shows French soldiers loading loaves of bread prepared in Celles Minier, Paris, on a train heading to the front. Wow. And the New York's National Guard requires was in April made a quickly of know my soldiers, but also Cubans and Puerto Ricans, led mainly by white commanders, but also a few African commando officers. Upon arrival in Europe, to the 300th Infantry Regiment assigned to the U.S. Army Service of Supplies, it was rapidly integrated into the French Army as a fighting unit. They kept the American uniforms but required French helmets and guns. They traded their helmets for U.S. issued ones later on in the conflict. They shared their culture with the French and introduced them to jazz, but also a few new sports such as baseball and basketball. Transporting area. In the early days of the Great War, 77% of all wounded were in the head, and 80% of those were fatal. By 1915, French soldiers were issued steel helmets to replace their ineffective cloth caps. The helmet was named after the engineer who designed them, Adrian.
Pato. Deb. The rock tricks you to Pato.
English spoken here. Badge. English-speaking French soldiers often wore this badge to show they could communication between French speakers and healing. Now, if you're still here, the Germans actually had way better trenches, like actual fortified trenches instead of this these holes. Lebel rifle, the standard French rifle. This bolt-action 8mm rifle could hold up to 10 cartridges with an effective range of with a bayonet and spare munitions. The Rebel rifle weighed nearly 12 pounds.
You know Freddy?
For James and Freddie, the long-awaited reunion was a powerful reminder that neither time nor distance can erode the extraordinary bond of brotherhood. The general mood among the 369th Infantry was one of camaraderie and shared purpose. Anna, joining them for a last meal before heading back to Vimy, was finding it particularly hard to say goodbye to Freddie. their renewed optimism was soon dashed. By nightfall, everyone in the 369th would be reminded of the perils this war had in store for them. Arriving in Vimy, Anna was now ready to begin her new assignment, training British medics. Meanwhile, George was developing photos taken during his reconnaissance missions. But tonight, the quiet peace of the dark room was broken by a barking Walt.
It was developed rapidly and used extensively during the war. The press searched for and published pictures of the front arrived. A ban by the military in France to section via the Almere credit to the images was to sway away the press neutral countries to throughout the entire war. The various spies experimented all Europe authorities and societies. As early as 1914, shops with German-sounding names were ransacked in France, and foreigners were suspected of being spies supplying information to the enemy in occupied territories. The military tracked resistance networks, communication with the Allies while trying to influence political life through the various means such as renowned dance matinee. The image shows a French soldier listening in on a German phone line. Their intelligence rapidly became a major challenge. Static aerial observers were used on both sides with static air balloons based on the German Drachen. The goal was to observe enemy artillery and cruise in the baskets. Beneath the balloon used to be cable holding the balloon as a phone line, allowing for fast information reports. The balloon rapidly became easy targets for pilots, so being part of the crew often meant being in a vulnerable position. style helmet. Stielhandgranate. Handgranaat. The standard grenade of the Imperial German Army, often known by its crude nickname the potato masher. Oh, I'm gonna get the style helmet. No, that's just cool, man. Stahlhelm replaced the outdated Pickelhaube spiked helmet designed in Verdun in March of 1916, offering significantly stronger protection against bullets and shrapnel. Schutzmaske, a German army gas mask constructed out of durable leather rather than the rubber used in the Gemini mask, which was also sometimes used by German troops. The screw that fit the gas filter was the same as what used in German Strellicht. Right. Schnapps, a bottle of schnapps. The German soldier tried to create a real sense of home at the front by bringing alcohol of products from home. Like French soldiers, they often stayed in the same location for the entire war. Griezenbrot, a heavy wartime bread that's supplemented rye with potato to use less baking ingredients, was eventually replaced by the even more potato-heavy brood, as grain supplies dwindled due to the blockage. There was a severe shortage of ingredients required to make standard bread. Oh, German planes are so
As
nice.
George headed back toward Allied lines, he snapped a photo of the massive movement of enemy troops and weapons. But he wasn't out of danger just yet. Seeing his German plane, Allied forces started opening fire. Upon landing, George was placed under arrest on suspicion of espionage. Fortunately, he was able to back up his story with proof. Spring 1918. With the Brest-Litovsk peace treaty signed, German fighting on the Eastern Front came to an end, freeing up troops for advancement to the Western Front. A series of offensives were launched, pushing the Allied lines to the breaking point. The last of these offensives was launched near Saint-Menehould. For James and the 369th, the long-awaited opportunity to prove themselves had finally